When the elevator doors finally open again, instinctually, a pit in your stomach opens with it. A tensing at what could possibly be next in this grueling, unfeeling game. You all have been awake for what feels like more than 36 hours. No knowledge of the outside, of the snag race, no knowledge of your allies or loved ones. Your senses deprived by unending darkness and stiffened necks, all forced forward to meet it. The inside of the elevator has died down from sobs and gasping for breath into just silence. No words shared. But when the soft, glowing light pours through those doors, you suddenly feel an engulfing relaxation. The light is pale and pastel, washing over all of you, broken up by tall trees that prevent you from fully seeing the source. The doors have opened to a forest, a vast landscape, a horizon of colorful trees and grass shifting in hues. The sky above a deep purple that swirls and moves like paint in water. And you can hear a gentle river winding its way through the trees. As you all are there, many of you, Alana, Dresden, and Rosanov, just elected to just sit in silence, staring at the floor. Hauna, his head buried in his arms, his knees to his chest. But as the light sort of hits all of them, they just almost instinctually turn their heads to look towards it through the opalescent elevator doors. What do you do?
Should we move on? What is this? Don't know. Are we... Does this look like where we came from? Purple sky?
It looks similar. It looks as though... It's strange. It's as if there's even more... If there was a slider between normal and not normal, normal and this strange pastel aesthetic, the Witchwood market leans maybe at like 60%. This leans more towards like 80, 90% in terms of strange, otherworldly even.
Huh. If I turn around and look back at the elevator, what do I see? Do I see like just a standing box?
If you step out of the elevator and turn back, you just see a box. There's no column or pillar that goes any higher. It's just a standing box. The elevator doors open. Your allies stumbling to their feet and stepping out like bewildered animals almost. Nocturnal creatures seeing the light for the first time, their eyes wide. There's dark circles underneath them, covering them. They're confused. But you can't help but feel calm and relaxed in the light.
Ladar would probably step out. There's like grass. I'm assuming it's like grass covered floor.
You feel the soft grass underneath.
She'd probably like get down on the ground and like feel the grass and like just lay back and feel like the warmth.
It's very nice. The grass is warm, but not hot. There's a gentle breeze that washes over you. It's not uncomfortable, it's soft. Like a bed. Just enveloping you.
She passes out. She's like, honestly, I'm fucking God. She probably like, Ladar, no. Ladar died. Sit there with her eyes closed and take deep breaths.
The wind that whistles through, the slight breeze that whistles through the grass, there are just hums of musical tones that you can hear lightly in your ear, just lulling you, calming you.
Is this like a final checkpoint or something? Some sort of, I don't know, rest stop?
I don't know, but I kind of just want to sit in this for a while.
You look down at Ladar and you can see that the grass that sort of around her, this outline of grass is just shifting colors and hues between pastel shapes, just like ripples in a lake. And each step you take, you see those ripples of color just...
What are the chances you think this is like some sort of trap?
What if we died?
Pretty likely that it's a trap, not that we die.
Oh, okay. Just worried for a second. This whole place is kind of a trap, right?
Is it really a trap if we walked into it?
That is a question.
I'll sit up and do like a perception check.
Sure, make a perception check. Yeah, go ahead. You have reliable talent,
Yeah,
too.
so it's a 20.
Okay. Just with the baseline 20, you get a good grasp of your surroundings. This isn't just an open forest that you can run off in any direction. You can immediately see that there are these kind of rocky outcroppings and things that are kind of ushering you on a path forward towards the sound of a river. But this place is beautiful. Looking around at your allies, they also have this sense of, after being so emotionally just barraged with so many things, are letting their guard down a bit. Auna and Dresden. Auna, especially, his eyes sort of tired, puffy and red from the tears. And Dresden just bewildered, just staring around. A surprising look of softness coming across his face after everything. The only one that hasn't let their guard down is Singe, who has a very complicated emotion on her face right now that you may be able, with just passive insight, to apprise as fear.
My passive insight's 19.
Mine's 20.
Definitely fear. Definitely fear mixed with confusion, mixed with calculating what is happening and how this is possible.
Oh. Oh. Something wrong.
This is impossible. We shouldn't be here. We shouldn't be here.
Where is here?
Must be a trick of some kind. She says she's not panicking, but she just kneels down and starts waving her hands through the grass, taking a closer look. You see her take like a sample of the grass, just like pulling some from the ground. You see that as it's pulled, you see that color just kind of die out of it, and kind of just like crumple in her hands.
Have you been here before?
Relief washes over her. Thankfully, I haven't been here before. I thought we were somewhere else. This is a near perfect recreation of the Feywild.
Vincent just freezes.
But it's a trick. It's a trick. I have to just keep in mind that it's a trick. If it was the real thing, this would be the deadliest trial of them all. But it's an approximation, recreation. It's not real, just fanciful show, yet it looks so real.
It's so beautiful.
It is. The real thing is as well.
Shall we head down that path?
Let's collect my thoughts as we walk.
As they are starting to go that way, Ladar will probably grab Auna's hand again if he'll allow it.
There's a little bit of difficulty in doing so as Auna's arms are kind of curled up like this, just holding his close to his chest, basically, running his fingers across his arms and just kind of taking in the atmosphere. But as he sees you kind of approaching, he just kind of nods and starts to follow.
She'd probably gently try to peel away at him kind of fidgeting with himself and kind of try to calm him down a little bit.
He's receptive. He just doesn't say anything. He hasn't said anything in a while. As you all begin to walk down the path, these pearlescent cobblestones leading you forward and forward until you reach a dock. A flowing river of beautiful pinks and purples, clear, but you can see the hues all the way to the bottom. An untainted river of shining pebbles and rocks that just underneath looks unlike any you've ever seen. And at the end of that dock, a well-carved boat of deep purple and gold engravings that just rests there, tied to the dock. And of course, standing next to it, the statue. What do you do?
Oh, our old friend.
We beat it.
As you approach and you say these things, that you have. Well done.
How does that make you feel?
Incredible sorrow for what comes next.
This is where you kill us.
Not here, no. You've earned an audience and an attempt. But I will give you one mercy, one kindness. As you have played the game so dutifully, so tenaciously. You've bested all 3 trials, and by the right of the ferryman, you have earned this. This is not a task, but simply the journey to the end. The boat is ready for you. The journey will take you a day. Enjoy your ride. and savor your time in this place. Savor what time you have left.
I don't like the sound of that.
The head just kind of nods downward.
It's very delightful.
Sweet ride, this for us.
I guess so. Everyone doing all right? For the most part.
Dresden, for the first time in this trial, does not have a steely look of determination. His eyes are downcast. His face, his shoulders hang as he looks at you. Just, I don't know. Any rest would be good.
Well, shall we take our ride?
I guess.
Just a big boat? It's gonna fit all...
It's a big boat. It'll fit all of you.
Shit.
Like a yacht?
There's just a yacht in this river.
No, it's like a big
They got
rowboat.
little martinis.
A big, very nice
Like Charlie and the
rowboat.
Chocolate Factory size?
Yeah, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, not in that size,
There's no
but like
Oompa
that.
Loompas.
Is there like an enclosed
That's design.
space, or is it like a open, like...
Is it like a canoe
Canoe.
or?
I would say there's like a canopy probably over the top.
Okay.
But actually, no, I don't want there to be canopy.
Would
Actually,
you say it's like the boats in Epcot's center where there's like you go through all the plants and
Oh,
it's like a
living
boat
off the- living off the land.
living with the land
Living
and
with
there's
the
like a
land.
thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? No, not at all.
I don't
okay.
know, but
You're not-
I
you're not
can
aware
look
of
it up
the ride
really quick.
vehicles
Hold
living
on,
with the
hold
land?
on.
Yeah,
living of the land.
living
With the
with the
land.
land,
With
living
the
with the land
land.
at
You're not-
Epcot.
You don't know the.
The
You're not
boat.
familiar with the ride vehicles,
Okay,
The ride
I'm
vehicles
looking at the ride
of
vehicles
Epcot.
now. Okay,
or maybe the ride vehicles on.
okay, I'm taking a
on
look.
Jungle Cruise in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, something like that too.
They're a little bit
similar-
more open. So
okay,
there's
okay.
like sort of velvety seating there. There's this canopy, but there are areas in which you can sit outside of the canopy and be like, under the open
okay.
sky, etc. The purples and such. The journey itself is going to be quite long, but as you can see, there are comfortable arrangements for
Do you have a mini fridge?
no mini fridge.
No
but,
snacks? I'm kind of hungry.
I think that
Rosanov has that taken care of.
Rosanov
Thank
has a
you.
lot of food, but
Thank you, Rosanov.
surely after playing the game for so long, they wouldn't just starve you to death on a boat after saying like, "Hey, good job, you earned this." Dies of starvation on a river. You all stepping on the boat?
Yep.
I
Stepping
think
on the
so.
boat. Doo,
Yeah.
doo, doo, doo.
It rocks slightly as you all enter in, but it's
Can
quite
I-
stable otherwise.
Can I pick up a pebble and just put it in my pocket?
Yeah, absolutely. You're able to kind of go over at the bank of the river. There definitely are a lot of pebbles, and as you pick one up, you can see that it's this like dark opalescent sort of sheen to it. It's almost too perfect in terms of how smooth it is and how shiny it is in the light. There's no light coming from overhead, by the way. A lot of it just emanates from further one direction to your left, I would say, if you're facing the front of the boat. But
Okay, I'll walk back and I'll be like, I got a cool rock. This place got souvenirs.
it's a nice rock.
Put it in my pocket. Get
Nice
on the boat.
rock.
Looks pretty cool.
You all take a seat. As you do, you see, without need for any of you to do anything, the ropes sort of unhitch themselves, and you feel the boat just kind of begin to lurch down the river. Slowly, calmly, you all sit as the boat makes its way down clear waters through the forest. Time passes in silence as you all sit, waiting for a catch, a once again, waiting for the other shoe to drop, but it doesn't. And you're slowly able to let your guard down as you see just a beautiful landscape ahead of you. The trees here shimmer, the leaves crystalline and somewhat transparent after a little bit more inspection. The colors that flow through them are somewhat warped, somewhat distorted, but beautiful. It's just light filtered through colored glass that creates these beautiful projections in the sky above you. Tall trunks with purple wood. A bit unsettling, as you can see that on some of them there are these masks that are just nailed to the bark. After the first hour, you see movement in the trees. Things that are just flying around, just from tree to tree to tree. First, seemingly animals, and then seemingly humanoid. Strange. Something fluttering, just. You can hear like these soft ringing and echoing of light chimes. What do you do? As you are all on the boat. Or actually, it might be easier if I start describing what other people are doing. Auna has calmed down after an hour or so. Still distraught, still tired, still not letting his guard down, but you can see that he's at least starting to doze off a bit. Dresden sits at the front end of the boat, just kind of looking forward down the path, his eyes vacant, his posture unmoving as he just takes in the surroundings. And Rosanov is furiously writing in a journal, just kind of thinking of something, clutching her bag tightly to her as she is muttering to herself, and then crossing things out and writing again. What do you do?
You said Auna's sleeping?
Auna's starting to doze off.
Honestly, probably sleep. It's been 36 hours.
Lidar might take a look at her notebook.
Okay.
Just read through around what her mom was saying about the end of the trials and stuff like that. See if anything's resonating there.
Make a notebook check.
Okay. It's a 10.
So, in reality, it's already been established that your mother has faced these trials. But this part of the process is not so detailed in terms of writing. There's a lot in here that is kind of describing of what she saw, saying that she was so tired after the last trial that this was welcome, that the boat ride was pleasant, and that the land here, this strange forest, was a lot like the ones that her mother described to her long, long time ago. But that's all you really pick up on. Nothing too useful.
So Vincent's been holding that bracelet, and he's not put it on.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is going to try to slip it on.
You feel that warmth that has been holding the emotions at bay. You could never really feel comfortable around Rosanov. Maybe moments here and there to let what Vincent thinks out, but there's always this creeping feeling of another unexplainable negativity towards this person. But as soon as the bracelet fully moves onto your wrist, there's a full sort of quiet comes over you.
Vincent could cry. What a relief.
There is definitely a relief, a reprieve from the noise. And just in time as Rosanov sort of says, not without looking up from her notebook, says, Vincent, could you... Oh, no, actually, are you still Masked Rider? No, it would have been 8 hours later.
It would have worn off. And also, they were
calling
They
figured
Vincent,
it out.
Yeah.
They had figured out who it was. Anyways,
yeah.
This sort of, without even a hint of, what's what I'm looking for? Discretion or anything on those lines. Speaking just kind of plainly. They're so focused, they just sort of speak up and say, Rosanov says, Vincent, could you gather everyone who's awake for a moment? Just not looking up.
Yes, there was actually something I need to talk to you about.
Kind of still focusing before breaking concentration. What?
That notebook. You keep notes well.
Oh, I have a collection of notebooks quite like this one. I just tend to fill them out quickly. So.
Right. He puts his hand into the bag of holding and digs around and tries to find that notebook that he bought in the Witchwood Market.
As you call the notebook to mind, you reach your hand into the bag of holding and you feel a grasp on it. And the first time you grasped this notebook, it was cold to the touch and very much a sensory nightmare for you. And this time it's just a book.
He will pull it out and he cracks the first page open and he looks at it.
In front of Rosanov?
Yeah.
She's kind of turning her attention back to her own notes and then sort of back up to you and is sort of talking and says, what about my note taking? And then sort of looks and sees what's in your hand and says, strange. That looks like one of... And looks at you.
He looks back.
How do you have that?
I stumbled across it.
Oh.
Found it.
She kind of puts her notes down and...
This is yours, right?
I recognize that cover anywhere. It's one of my first. How did you... I lost that ages ago. How did you...
Somebody was selling it.
Selling it?
Yeah, I don't know how they got it.
The knowledge in there is worth thousands of gold.
Is it normal for this to, like, make you feel kind of like... I don't know. I don't know. When I tried to look at it earlier, it felt like something was wrong, and I didn't know if you put some sort of spell on it or if it was just me.
I don't know the extent of the effects that the amulet has on you. Even the bracelet is only a temporary measure that...
How temporary?
It won't wear off anytime soon, but given another week or so, it may start to wane in its power. I keep my field notes from that place separate from my other notes for a reason, though. Because there is a effect that knowledge has on you. A regular mind from our plane of existence is not meant to understand the other planes. It takes extraordinary people, and when exposed to that knowledge, it's easy for people to be overwhelmed, to feel a loss of their sense of self, to question what reality is because of how different things are and how insignificant it makes us feel, but I get a sense that's not what you felt. If that is one of my first notes,
this explains what's going on with me, right?
she looks away.
But I can't read it.
You can try, but I can tell you this, that my excursions into the Feywild, any excursion that I do with teams from the Magus Academy, they are timed. We've extended that time from hours to days to weeks to now nearly a month, but they're timed for a reason. There are things written in that notebook from a time where I did not look favorably upon my experience in the Feywild and my experience with beings from the Feywild. You can attempt to read it, but if something happens, if you feel the bracelet beginning to fail, I need you to close that book. It's dangerous, is all.
I don't want to hurt you. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I didn't want to hurt your friends.
I know.
So I'm gonna try my best.
On the inside of that book, in particular, there should be... I have fail-safes on all of my field journals from the Feywild that allow me to break my mind away from it if I felt that it was taking too much hold, or if I felt I was losing myself. Runes that are inside of that book. They're spread out, of course, across it, so it should help to some extent, but if you can read them, I don't know if you're versed in that kind of arcane knowledge yet. I at least can read them, but it would work better if you did. If you can read them, it's ways of dispelling Fey influence over yourself. They're not... It's the same kind of magic that's in the bracelet. It's a difficult spell, but if you can pull it off in a smaller regard, such as reading a book back in the material plane, then you can slowly build up a tolerance. Kind of what I was thinking of working on with you in a different setting, she says as she looks around. But if something happens, just call out and I will try my best to cast the same incantation.
Okay. You know, I think I might have seen this place too once. Not in... It was like a dream. But it looked a lot like this, yeah.
Fascinating.
A lot of weird things
Very
going on
strange.
with me, so...
I wouldn't say they're wrong. I don't think that any of those are your fault. It's just the hand you've been dealt, and quite an unfair hand it is.
I think the ferryman probably also has seen this place. Don't you think? It looks like this.
That was my thought as well. Which narrows it down a bit, but none of the answers make sense. Someone who's seen the Feywild, those people are few and far between.
Right.
Only... As far as I know, only higher-ups in the Starlight Sovereignty have ever even crossed that threshold. I am the leader of research of otherworldly planes. So I can count, go through a list of people. It would take me a day or two, but I can go through a list of people and narrow it down as to who could possibly have seen this place, but I truly don't know. It's a good theory, though. Especially because this is such a perfect recreation, but the grass does not crumble like that in the Feywild. It simply stays. It simply, the color itself just almost, it stays and it stays, it bursts. I don't know how to explain it. It's a strange sensation. You'll have to see it sometime. I do have some samples back at my laboratory, but it is quite an interesting phenomenon. I've had many people who have had permanent discoloration where their hands shift in various hues and such from exposed contact to Feywild grass. Oh yes, it's quite interesting. But it's the risk you run. It's one of the...
Does it hurt or anything, or is it...
No, just very disorienting.
Interesting. Does it stay... You said, does it stay permanent, or...?
Without treatment.
Wow.
But Vincent, if you could gather everyone.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, of course. Sorry.
Before they all doze off.
Of course.
I don't know how much time we have. As you all are gathered by Vincent, you can all hear. I mean, you're all in the same place.
I'm like, hey.
Okay. Everyone, gather around. Excuse me. Before you all rest, sleep, do whatever you need to do. I still have food if you need it. I was going into this with the intention of negotiating for the freedom of, well, Fenlin and Elise and their friends. However, the terminology that is being used seems as though there is a confrontation coming up, which we may be able to avoid with some diplomacy, of course, but confrontation is arising. I don't trust this figure, the ferryman. And should we face this person, I believe them to be very powerful, simply because of a few key factors, which would market the existence of this tower and this recreation of the Feywild. It all requires a massive amount of arcane energy, something akin to Arcan. For those of you who are casters, magic comes from a couple different places. Perhaps it comes from nature, perhaps it comes from an otherworldly being. But for people like, say, Vincent, who I've seen cast, the world around us radiates arcane energy. And that is because of deposits of arcane crystals deep, deep beneath the ground. Just a baseline amount, without being in contact with arcane crystals, gives you the power to cast magic. Not everyone can attune to it, but if you are born with a natural affinity, you are born magical. That's how it works. However, there's a limit to people's abilities in magic. I have known of the Merriment for some time, and I've done research into them as best as I can. This is just coincided that this is when this problem seems to be at its worst, and thus I've kind of been forced to move things along a much quicker pace now. People can only handle a certain amount of magic. It just depends on factors we don't know about. But I just know that when the body is overloaded by exposure to arcane or arcane energy, the results are bad. That results in spells backfiring, it results in extreme fatigue, and sometimes temporary loss of magical abilities, just in general. It's a common technique to apprehend rogue wizards and sorcerers is to have a small amount of arcane on us as officials of the Mages Academy to overload them, if that makes sense. That way, when they come into contact with it, they usually can't handle it, they fizzle out, and then they are non-magical. I would believe that the ferryman is pushing their limits in terms of how much magic they are handling right now. If they're controlling everything that's happening in the Witchwood Market, everything here, and everything in the tower, they must have some sort of artifact or immense amount of arcane that they're drawing from to keep all of these things running at once. And I believe that if I were to overcharge it, I could short out the entire thing. What that would mean, I don't know. It would collapse the Witchwood Market and shoot everyone in there into Lunastra, which will cause chaos. But it might be our only chance. And at the worst, it could mean my death.
Well, I don't want that. So
I don't either, but it's where we're leaning towards. And so, in my bag of holding, I have, from the Mages Academy, an incredible store of arcane. How much? Well, if any of you were to come into contact with this much arcane, one of two things would happen. One, your body would absorb all this magical energy and become so extremely powerful that you would not be able to contain it, and you would explode.
Damn.
Into a burst of arcane fireworks.
Oh.
Or, two, just being in contact with it for a moment would be so overwhelming for your mind that you would lose consciousness.
Oh, shit.
But who knows what happens when we tear a bag of holding?
Is this a quiz?
This is it.
Vincent!
Bad things happen.
I guess so.
Very bad things happen.
Very bad things happen, mostly because usually adventurers keep all of their weapons in their bag of holding, as well as any dangerous implements they've collected. Thus, if a bag of holding rips, everything fires out of a bag of holding that has been held inside of it. However, in the right circumstances, you can use this as a sort of bomb, in a way. So, if one of you, for instance, Ladara, your marksmanship, were to pierce this bag of holding at the correct moment towards this ferryman entity, we would release an immense amount of pure, unfiltered arcane above them, and effectively overload them with magic. The amount in here, unless this person is akin to some form of deity, cannot be held by any living being. It took months to accumulate this much just in the bag, simply through collecting it from stores and having to write it off in paperwork, of course.
God.
That is, in fact, a crime, but please don't tell anyone.
I'm not gonna do that.
It sounds like an interesting enough plan, but isn't it extremely dangerous? I don't know that we should put all our eggs in this one basket.
I'm not saying to, but I'm saying it's an option. I don't know what we're going to face, and we can fight this person head on. You all are powerful, you all are accomplished casters and adventurers. I've done research on the Strings of Fate, and you all bested the Tyrant Wizard Manchun, former creator of the Zentarum.
That we did, yeah.
That is not an easy feat. It is, in fact, nearly impossible for common people. So, I'm just saying that
there are options.
There are options. If we were to use some source of intense magical energy It is our last-ditch effort.
I really don't want to sacrifice any of you, if I can help it. So, just don't be a martyr.
I'm not trying to, but desperate times. That is all. I wanted to inform you of this plan, so if we need a code word, if things are going south and we need to resort to using my bag.
Pineapple.
Pineapple works fine. I will yell the word pineapple and I will throw the bag. We will get it as far away from the bag as possible when all the contents burst out.
And then I'll shoot it, yeah.
And then you will shoot it, and which will cause the contents to burst out near the ferryman. Whatever this is, there are so many variables that could go wrong. If I had another few months to plan this would be perfectly laid out, but I don't.
We have this now.
We have this now.
It's alright.
My only thought is to beat the ferryman by overloading him. Or at least to... It's dangerous, but it'll work. The consequences are just
Iffy.
high.
Well, having a plan is better than not, so, at least we have something to go off of, and hopefully it won't come to that.
All right. That is our backup. First, negotiation. Second, combat. Third, pineapple.
Pineapple, yeah.
I don't want to have pineapple happen. It's out of character.
For now, her eyes kind of widen as she looks and says, "Oh," and sort of points ahead, and you can see that sort of extending from the shore. There are these sort of tulip-like flowers, these enormous tulip-like flowers that just kind of curve down towards the edge of the boat, and then just kind of bloom open. And from them, you can see these like shimmering fruits that just like, and just kind of are there. You can see that standing at the shore, the statue is there and says, "This is no trick. We cannot have you starving before our confrontation. Please take a fruit and it will feed you for the day."
That is so kind. Wow. Thank you so much.
I do this only in fairness of the game.
Azram grabs a fucking fruit. He's like, "Don't mind if I do."
Okay,
I
well,
watch Azra and I'm like, what's this gonna do?
Mirzanov grabs one and says, "Okay, it's dangerous to usually eat food from the Feywild, but at
Or
least
from an enemy."
It's more of a superstition, but I think it's dangerous because it has hell on your digestive tract eating food from other planes.
Oh, really?
It's just
just
your body
kinda-
is not used to it.
Just makes your tummy hurt.
It is a common myth that it will bind you to a Fey or something along those lines. And we had that scare a few times, but in reality, it was just indigestion.
I'm sure we have
so
tummy
funny.
medicine in the bag of holding, right?
This should be a...
Yeah, I got some right here.
I have, yeah.
I don't know. Is Christian in the
I
fucking
just
game?
sitting there.
Is Christian in the back of the boat?
You can look over the boat and Christian's got his
You want
candy
lactate?
back. He's like,
He's like,
I got it.
I got Tums, I got Pepsi.
Oh man.
Well,
I'll wait to see what other people.
I'll eat the fruit.
Yeah.
What does it look like?
Just like a shimmering
peach?
golden apple.
Oh.
Golden apple.
A golden apple.
Actually, no. I want to change that. It's more of like a pomegranate, like a golden pomegranate, basically.
Oh, dangerous.
Like these little seeds, these golden seeds that are just like these gelatinous little things inside. As you break it open, and
Yummy.
as you begin to eat them, and just dispose of the seeds, they're
Azram starts spitting the seeds at Ladara.
Ow!
Children.
She'll
It's
throw
like- they're
a
like-
seed at him.
they're like
Stop.
little shimmering lights, like, they're like shooting little stars.
I imagine Dresden's like looking off in the water, contemplating his life. He's gonna shoot a couple in the back of his head too.
Ladara throws like a whole like actual one at you, like not a seed, like just like a little thing, like stop.
Hey, don't waste your food.
Hey,
Don't throw it at me.
I didn't throw it at you. I spit it at you, and they went. Pop, 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 pop.
this is.
Azram, that's even worse, honestly. Disgusting.
Why would you? Oh, it's still sticky. Ugh.
Oh, there's one stuck to your neck still. Just yeah.
Oh my! Why is your spit so sticky?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Gasp! I was like, oh my goodness.
Jesus Christ, Azram, right now.
Yeah, it looks
really?
like there's no adverse effects, so she breaks one open and just starts to nibble on the seeds.
Nibble, nibble. How is it? Is it good?
Yeah, it's really good.
It's delicious.
Yummy.
It's filling and delicious and not too overwhelming. You feel a little bit less tired, but you feel a little more sleepy as you're just kind of letting the tiredness sort of hit at this point. Now you can let your guard down. Well, maybe we should rest at this point. Do we want to take shifts or?
I can stay up.
I can rest without sleeping as well.
Oh, it's kind of exciting. It's like I'm back in an adventuring party.
On a boat.
Oh well, kind of the same. Adventurers.
We like pirates.
This is a lame pirate ship.
Shut up.
Let him live his fantasy.
Justin, will you play pirates with me?
Oh my god.
You're not gonna spit at me again, right?
That depends. Are you gonna play pirates with me or not?
Can we sleep first?
Fine.
I'll play pirates with you.
I'll play pirates with you later.
I'll play pirates with you in the morning.
Azram's 5.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna be the captain though.
I'm going to bed.
Okay. You all go
Are
to
we
sleep.
taking a shift? Are we like
Oh,
Take a
actually,
watch?
I'll stay up. Yeah, I'll stay up.
Lidar and Azram are just
Staring at each other.
throwing seeds back and forth for hours.
They're doing like the little thing with their hands, like a goal.
like a football.
Yeah, like the paper footballs, but with seeds.
You should be. Rosanov looks like you should be careful about the. Oh, now look at this. She says she reaches into another bag that's not with Yarkin and pulls from her like go bag a little a bit of like wet wipes basically. I was like, now you've got and she starts to like brush off some of the stains because you can see now that where the seeds are hitting, there's just like little golden like spots there that are just like stuck there. It's like now you've got some. You made me break out the magic wet wipes. So she says, like, kind of hold still.
If Azrav noticed that, he would probably start trying to put like gold designs on his face.
Oh my god!
He's trying to like he'll like make it into a star on his hand and then like put it on his cheek.
Food.
Oh my
There's another
god!
a gape, and she's like, "Don't do that.
What
You don't
Is
know
there
how
a gold
permanent
star
that is."
on my cheek?
Make a
Kind.
luck check. See how it looks like.
How good is this star?
How good is this star?
Luck, you said?
Luck, yeah, it's
Oh.
just a straight D20.
Okay. 15.
It's a pretty good star. You actually, just from the slap-on method, they're just the points. It looks more like a constellation, I think, but you still shouldn't. You should not rub food on your
He
face
always
in
does
general.
this shit.
Because this kind of pats your face with the wet wipe and wipes
This
off
is
the
what it's
star.
like to
Why'd
be
you
on
wipe off
watch
my
with him.
star?
You got someone that. And some people who are sleeping. It's
Stop
just,
drawing on Auna.
She goes around and just starts trying to get all the seeds you spit all over everyone. All right.
Vincent's
Clocked out.
yeah, Vincent's sleepy.
Can't believe she wiped off my star, Lidara.
I can hear you. I'm in the boat too.
I mean, technically you could do it again, but honestly, she's just gonna wipe it off again. What do you?
Why?
Because. Because you're playing with your food, and we're in a random place, and we don't know where we are. We don't know what that is. What if it's like gonna stay there forever if you don't take it off?
Well, then at least I would look kind of cool.
We could get you like glitter when we get back or something, and you can mess around with it. Maybe not the pomegranate seeds. Maybe hold off for now.
You guys are literally no fun.
I'm sorry that we're no fun. Sorry that we're no fun. It's a little bit of a stressful situation. Azram, can I make a perception check?
On
Yep.
you, Christian? Why are you rolling?
Yeah, what the fuck?
Just roll.
Oh, that's a lot of rolls.
Can I make a perception check?
Yeah, you can make a perception check, sure.
You're like, yeah.
What are you rolling for?
I'm rolling.
It's gonna be like all of you die.
Oh, cool.
That saves for everyone.
It's a 20.
A 20.
Oh, flips over.
You actually get to see a little bit more into the trees on your watch. You can see that there are these little humanoid creatures just looking down at you. They're small, they're tiny, they shimmer like light, little fluttering like butterfly wings. And on closer inspection, you can see just like little silver strings pulling at them as they just sort of like pulled around these puppeted pixies that just fly through the trees and around, staring down, the heads cocking left and right. And eventually, time passes, and you are all in different times able to find sleep. And that's where we'll take a break. Hey there, everyone. It is Christian with the break. Thank you for listening to episode 59 of SoftPod. That is right. 59 episodes, almost to 60 episodes. Wow. Before we continue, we have a quick word from our sponsors. Our holy sponsors. Starting with Dungeon Depths. Dungeon Depths is your one-stop shop for quality gaming supplies with character. That includes dice, dice trays, dice vaults, apparel, stickers, and SoftPod merch. But wait, there certainly is more. If you've been wondering how you can support such an amazing storefront, but gosh darn it, all their beautiful dice just keeps getting bought right up, you know? I don't know why I slipped into this. Maybe it's a hint for something later. But anyways, if you are looking for a way to support them, they now have a Patreon. That's right. You can support Dungeon Depths on Patreon and get a number of exclusive benefits that are all wonderful and amazing. They've got several tiers set up that you can go ahead and check out on their social media, as well as just at patreon.com/dungeondepths. So go check them out. They are an amazing creator and they deserve all the love and support they can get. Lastly, don't forget to use the code SOFTPOD at checkout. That's SOFPOD. Something like that, right? That was right? Shh, don't look at me. You can just continue the prayer. Oh, yep, sorry. Thank you, Dungeon Depths, and amen. Speaking of Patreon, we are sponsored by you, the viewer. But for you, the viewer, we have a number of benefits as well. One of them being something that I teased earlier in this break and that has been announced this week on all of our social medias, our very first side quest. That's right, folks. The Ballad of Bonnie O'Donegan, our first official canon side quest, is being released on YouTube on May 13th, 2022. I don't know why I said the year 2. And on that same day, we will be releasing episode 2 on our Patreon, and all subsequent episodes will also go on our Patreon. So, if you want to hear the continuation of Bonnie O'Donegan's story, then you gotta head over to patreon.com/thestringsofFate. Now, I will take a moment to read out in this Western accent, slowly turning into a Southern drawl, the honorary bard names from our $10 tier. Thank you kindly to Al, Kim, Patty, Eli, Allie, Kayla Bella, Valentina Perez, and Leon. Thank you so much for subscribing on Patreon. It means the world. All that to say, watch out for the Ballad of Bonnie O'Donegan coming in place of an episode next week, so episode 60 will actually be 2 weeks from now. Whew. Anyways, where did that music come from? We are also Roll20 ambassadors, so we would like to give a hearty thank you to Roll20, a virtual tabletop that you can trust. That's not the tagline, but it's true. Roll20 is a great way for you to connect with your friends across the world to play tabletop RPGs. A great pastime if you haven't figured it out already. You can head on over to roll20.net for more details. Thank you so much. Thank you so much also to the Softchord for all the love that you pour into the show. I hope you're enjoying this episode. It's a bit of a rest one since the past 8 or so have been emotional. So I thought I'd make it emotional, but at least calm. Anyways, I think that about wraps it up for me. What? What am I missing? Only one of the most important parts of the sacred rite? How many times have we gone through this? It's hard. I'm not used to doing all this ornamented stuff. I'm used to just kind of going with the flow when it comes to the breaks. Everyone seems to enjoy it, or at least it gets the information I need to across. You're completely hopeless. How on earth were you chosen by an old god when you can't even read an ad professionally? We're going to have to start from the top. Redo the ad and... Oh, okay. Nope. Sorry, we're recording in here. You can't... What is the meaning of this? I believe I should be asking the same thing, dear sister. Brother Aldwin, may I ask why you bring the temple guard to these chambers? I had heard tell of consorting with heretics, outsiders, and I had begged and pleaded that this not be true, but lo and behold, what do I find? An outsider poring over the holy text. This is preposterous. I am the sponsored sage. Just because you can't accept that now doesn't mean you have the right to question my... On the contrary, as head inquisitor, I have every right to make sure that you are staying within the bounds of the scriptures, as well as to carry out befitting punishments deigned by the monetized monarch. You brought father into this? I had no choice. He had no idea of your illicit dealings, and I'm afraid the punishment is quite dire. Execution is back on the menu, it seems, and you, unfortunately, are included in that sentence. Aldwin, you... Oh, give it a rest. Why don't you just come quietly, and I will take on the arduous task of posthumously taking your role as sponsored sage, my dear sister. Do I get a say in any of this, or... No. Okay, just checking. Anyways, Inquisitors, seize them. You will rue this day, Aldwin. Quickly, outsider, take my hand. What? What are we... Oh no, she's going to use... magic. Find them, please. Your boat ride is peaceful, calm. You feel sort of the burden and pain in your body just beginning to leave as you just rest, hearing the sounds of the forest around you, the river beneath you. You all wake up at different times, just randomly, just from whatever dreams you may have. As you look down in the water, you can see it all flows in one direction, and there are the outlines of something swimming with the flow. Outlines of others, those who came before, all just swimming down the direction of the river. Azram, you don't doze off. You never have had to. You just feel your body repairing itself, your tiredness leaving, your arcane energy returning. It's when Alna stirs that it's the first sort of noise that catches your attention that isn't just ambiance. Alna just sort of Stretching after a kind of tumultuous time trying to get to rest, though the light coming from the center definitely helping. As the river winds around the forest, you see him just sort of look around, a bit confused, lock eyes with you for a moment, and then just go.
Good morning, bud.
Good morning.
How'd you sleep?
I feel better. A little, I suppose. Do you know how much time we have left before we...
No idea. No.
Oh.
Could be 5 minutes, could be 5 hours. I haven't really been keeping track. You should ask someone like Ladar or Rosenoff, someone who's more on top of that shit. I'm just riding the boat.
Both of them asleep at this point.
Azrim's like, oh shit.
I'd rather not wake them, but I'll ask them whenever they wake back up.
How are you doing?
He thinks for a moment. Poorly, honestly. The physical trials are things that I'm used to. The more emotional ones, not as simple. I've walked for days on end, but nothing like that.
What did you hear in that last trial? 'Cause I know we all were going through it. I thought I might have heard you mention something about our mother, and I just didn't know if...
He's avoiding your eyes for a moment as he kind of turns to be seated, looking at the water and down into it. Kind of lazily lets his hand drift down and then just coast along the surface. I don't remember what I said, but I Azrim, do you have any memory of our mother at all?
No. I don't even know what she looks like.
She's kind. She's unbelievably kind. For a long time, I didn't know people could be kind, and if I had never heard her words, I would have believed it. I never knew. She never told me that I had a brother. And I just remember one day when I was young, my father coming, enraged, just screaming at her that she had hidden something. And he left, and he was back within the day, and I had never seen her cry like that And she begged. She begged to ask if you were alive, if what he had done, and he just refused to answer her. And I didn't put it together until my father sat me down and told me that you existed. That I had a brother, and that she hid you away from him, and that she had chosen to do so. Over hiding me. He stoked something in my heart. He told me that if she truly loved me, she wouldn't have left me to deal with him. That because of my own failures and imperfections, that's why I was cursed with the life that I had, and that you got to live happy. And it made me want to kill you. It wasn't just to get approval or because I was told to. I truly felt it for so long, traveling across Afra to get to you. I had an opportunity. The first time we met in Senyath was not the last. I found entrance to where you were staying. You were asleep. And I remember raising my staff to He looks away from you. But I couldn't do it. You look exactly like her. I know we're twins and we look the same, but for the longest time, I just never thought about it. When I saw you, I saw her, and I couldn't do it. I remembered how much she cried, thinking that he had hurt you. And even if she loved you more, I still couldn't hurt her like that.
I'm sure she didn't love me more than you.
Then why did she leave me with him?
Lazarus pulls Auna into a hug.
I'm sorry. I wanted to turn around. I don't almost failed this for everyone. I almost hurt Deville, Redair. I almost hurt Latar's friends. I risked it all because I knew she would never say things like that. I knew she would never say things like that to me, but I just wanted to hear that it wasn't true. I just wanted to hear that it wasn't true.
Azram pulls him in a little bit tighter and is like, also starting to tear up and is like, it's not true. Of course it's not true. She loved you.
He just takes a deep breath and pulls away for a moment as he looks at you. And he looks back down at the water. You can see tears fall down his face and then into the river below. I'm sorry. I don't know. I have nothing to say besides I just want to see her again.
We will. You said she's alive, right?
He nods.
We'll see her.
The last time I saw her, I said such unkind things. I don't know, Azram. I don't know what it'll be like when I see her again. Don't know if I can forgive myself for even... I don't know.
The difference, Aona, is that when you see her again, you won't be the same person that you were back then. You obviously don't hate me anymore. The hate that filled up your heart. And you have all of us now. You have people you care about.
Make a persuasion check.
17.
Aona looks at you. He looks around the boat and all of his allies that are all at rest. He looks at Ladara. And he looks back. I'm not seeing her alone. I need her to know that I didn't... that you're safe. Because she loves you so much, Azram. And he smiles. Give me a moment to breathe. I'll collect myself.
Yeah. And I want you to know that I love you too. And I never knew I had a brother. And I never knew what it was like to really have a family like that at all. And getting to know you has been one of the best parts of my journey so far. Finding my brother.
Aona looks at you for a moment, his eyes wide, his mouth slightly agape as he just looks. And you can't tell, but as he sees you saying those words, he also sees someone else. He smiles. He doesn't say anything. He moves over to the edge of the boat and just begins to focus on his breathing. Time passes. Aona drifts back to sleep. The trial obviously taking a toll on him. Dresden eventually awakes as well. And the same time as whoever else would like to be awake to speak to Dresden if anyone is talking to him, but he is just focused, eyes forward, now that he has gotten some rest.
I kind of want to talk to Azram about something.
Sure.
I want to talk to Dresden.
Dresden is sitting with eyes forward, looking down the river. He's not in this rigid position or this impatient stance. He's just staring, taking in the sight as you approach.
She'll just sit down next to him.
He doesn't really budge as you sit.
I'm not going to ask you how you're doing because I feel like not that I know, but I understand.
Can probably approximate, yeah. Sorry.
For what?
I've snapped. I'm not doing well. And I know you're not as well.
It's a lot.
I have not thought about some of the things that I have seen and heard in the past 24 hours in 20 plus years.
There are a lot of things I saw today that I never thought I'd have the dread of having to see again.
And yet, here we are.
Here we are.
You saw it all in the first trial. You learned my last name. In the third, I don't think there's much left. So maybe the mysterious mystique of Dresden is all but gone at this point.
I wish I could have asked you about some of these things and learned about them, not in such a forceful way. It almost seems... I mean, I feel like I've intruded on all of your lives. I know more about you all, and it makes me treasure you all a lot more. Not that I didn't before, but we all have gone through so much.
Dresden turns and just looks over everyone in the boat.
Dresden, hope that you don't... Justin, I hope you know that there are some burdens that you can share with other people, and I just want you to know that I'm here for you. And I don't judge anything from the past, and I don't see you any differently.
Looks at you. He takes a deep breath. Forgive me for asking, but your family. Could you share the memory of them? I'll explain why in a second. Preferably a good one. He smiles.
Well, every Sunday was when the village would all throw kind of farmer's market. Me, my mother, and my sister, we would all wake up early. My mom would have a bunch of baked goods made, and we would go and we would sell them and see everyone, and I got to see all my friends. There weren't a lot of kids in the village, but there were just a few that I used to hang out with a lot by the lakes, and me and my mother and my sister would just spend the day together and with the community. And it was warm.
Justin's chromatic eyes just focused on you, listening to every word. A smile on his face as he takes in every detail. Thank you for sharing. I say that I had nearly forgotten my family. It's not entirely true. I remember my early childhood. I remember their faces, their names, how kind they were to me. But in serving under Garrick, I have lost quite a bit more than just them. I am jealous of Ezra for not having to deal with what it's like being in Invictus Tomb. When the body dies and is brought back, you lose things. And I have been killed so many times and brought back so many more that all that's left are their names and their faces and their voices. So, I wish I could tell you I've been traveling, trying to find leads on Garrick, but I can't help but just ask people who are happy, their lives, their memories, because at least then I can pretend they're mine. So when I heard his voice in my ear, and I realized that even then on that bridge I was doing his bidding that had led me to my own death so many times at his hand and at the hands of his enemies, and I had been brought back. I have never once been afraid of death, but I just have so little to hold on to. I'm sorry. I've been acting strange around you in my time in Lunastra. But I realized why. It's because I'm jealous. I know it's wrong. We both experience the same thing. But I wish I was as strong as you. I wish I could have turned away from this path. I wish that I could have gotten away anything. You have faced so much, and yet you are still one of the most kind and pleasant people that I've met in my entire life. And even when I shut you all out with my mysterious caricature to hide the fact that I had lost so much will to live, you all still cared for me. And even now you still try.
I always will. Justin, you don't need to apologize for anything. And to be declared as someone who is kind is not a word I would use to describe myself.
It's a word I would. I have known little kindness in this world. It just... I've seen so many people broken by Garrick. And to see someone that still kept a fire in her heart against him, I don't know. I couldn't help it. Moth to a flame, I suppose.
You have been through more than I can imagine. The fact that you are still fighting to this day, that you are here to fight another day. You're an incredibly strong person. I mean, even from when we knew you before, when you were mysterious and brooding, you have grown so much, and I like this version of you.
He just looks over at you. He thinks to himself. He thinks of how much he has given up in pursuit of power. How much of himself he's dedicated to this patron, this draconic voice from beyond the veil. His eyes, his arms. Every time that his cold and unbeating heart has been brought back to life against his will. And he realizes in that moment that he never really did have a reason to keep going. Well, not until he met you all. He can't say any of it with his eyes. But you can read a lot in his smile. I know that that my goals to kill Garrick, to get my revenge, it's how we met, it's how we bonded. But sometimes I think, sometimes I wish that maybe my life could be more than that. That once all is said and done, I could live for something more. I don't know what I'm saying.
I wish for that too. Another reason to live that isn't filled with fighting for my life or my loved ones' lives. It just doesn't seem in reach yet.
Well, no, you're not alone. And we'll find it.
We will.
We just have to get through this.
She'll give him a hug.
He's frozen for a moment.
I guess every time that they've hugged, he kind of freezes, so... I know that you don't really like hugs, sorry.
You feel his arms sort of wrap around your back. I don't remember saying that. The moments drift on. If you would like to have a conversation with Azram, you certainly can. Vincent.
Vincent sort of wakes up. He's a little groggy. Notices that Azram is awake. Sits in silence for a little bit. So, want to talk about it?
Talk about what?
So no.
No. What do you mean?
Everything that we just, sort of...
Why me? Why don't you go talk to Lidar about it?
Because Lidar is sleeping. Remember that one time that you went off and then you came back and I was really mad at you?
Mm-hmm.
Like really mad?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I ever properly apologized for punching you, so... Sorry.
It's okay. Didn't hurt. So.
Shit.
No, but it is okay.
The reason I bring it up is because I get it now. I feel like you and I sort of butt heads a lot, don't we?
That's one way to put it. But, I mean, you're still my friend.
Yeah. I think I understand where you're coming from a little bit better now.
Huh. Well, I guess you could say the same for all of us.
Yeah. When you face your father, I'm gonna be right behind you, okay?
Thanks.
Yeah, he's an asshole.
Yeah, sucks.
Really sucks.
And the worst part is that Anna had it way worse than I did.
Yeah. That was really bad. It's hard to watch.
I got myself into most of the trouble that I ran into in my life. And I have learned to carry that responsibility. And it's hard seeing someone who didn't ask for the life they lived to suffer so much.
Ezra, I'd argue that from where I'm standing, it looks like you didn't bring any of this upon you yourself. You've been pushed by outside forces. You've made decisions that you were forced into. I think you put a lot of blame on yourself. I think that responsibility is misplaced guilt. You were just a kid. I don't mean to be preaching to the choir. Sorry.
I was just a kid. And kids do dumb things, right?
Yeah.
What about you?
What about me?
Do you want to talk about it?
Sure. What do you want to talk about?
Oh, I didn't think that far ahead. The voice thing is pretty spooky.
Yeah, I guess I never told you about that. It's kind of been with me ever since I woke up. It's kind of... I don't know. There are moments where it's worse and moments where it was, I guess, gone completely. Sometimes I didn't even know if it was the voice or it was me, in my own head. But it's been quiet for a little bit, so there's that, I guess.
I guess we both have some misplaced guilt. Because you're not a bad person, Vincent. And the things that you've done are not your fault. You're grumpy. And kind of a pain in my ass. And like you take way too long in the shower. Like way too long.
Take an appropriate amount of time. I don't know what. Do you not wash it? Do you not wash yourself properly?
Man, I do not know what your definition of properly is.
Like how long? Like 2 hours? What are we talking? Or does Adam take like 5-minute showers? So Vincent's like 40 minutes is like weird.
But Vincent takes 5-minute showers.
I'm just never showers.
In and out. No, that's not true.
Just kidding.
Clean.
He's a clean dude.
Clean.
But you're not a bad person. And we all know it. Look around. Look at all these people who don't think you're a bad people.
Bad people?
Look at all these people who don't think you're a bad person.
Nadara's like...
The sleeping faces of your companions all rest in the soft, pale glow.
We'll both have to work on that then. Elliot seemed like a really nice man. And I think that he would be proud of you as you are.
Ezra looks a little like stunned, and he doesn't make eye contact with you, just kind of like wide eyes, like looking at the ground. Then he breathes. He's like, he was an amazing man. He was an amazing father. And I wouldn't be half as strong if it wasn't for him. It's actually a little unfortunate that he'll never get the chance to meet all of you guys. I think he really would have liked you guys.
I would have liked to meet him. I will clap you on the shoulder and pull you into one of those like awkward half hugs on the side.
Ezra's like,
sorry, is that weird?
no, dude, hug me properly.
Oh, okay.
Pulls him in.
He's like, oh, okay.
It's sweet.
In the light, you all share your moments, drifting off here and there, Azram being the only one who stays consistently awake, the tiredness just leaving his body, and the first to realize when you are finally approaching your destination. The sky has not moved, just this dark purple, just enough to, not disturb your rest. Azram, you eventually realize that the path you've been taking is just this concentric spiral, just heading towards the center. The trees there, all just tall, obscuring what is there. Until finally, you see it. You've been traveling for so long, circling the center of this forest, wondering what is there. And when you see the scope of it, you are almost stunned that you couldn't see it before. Another enormous circus tent. But this one seemingly made of flowing stained glass. The boat comes to rest, just everyone kind of rousing all at the same time as you feel this intense relaxation and warmth over you, almost dangerously so. Addicting, in a way. As you all look on at the circus tent in this clearing, that all the tall trees in their shimmering crystalline canopies, all the puppeted pixies dance around. And from inside, there is a familiar shining light. A glow that has a much more intense feeling that floods into the forest around, diffracted by the stained glass. As you all rise, Rosanov gasps as you can see through the panes an enormous piece of fractured moonstone. And that's where we'll end.
Oh my god.